All right, so at this point, we have an axle and we have a follower, and the last thing you do is looking to do a topper, right? So again, everybody's going to have different things depending on their client. I'm just going to use a Hopewell example because most of you probably have this in another document, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see how that works. So if what I did is I already had this Hopewell design and I made a copy. What a lot of students don't understand is one of two things, right? When we 3D print multiple parts, that will all be as one. However, in CAD, those are separate pieces. So that's one thing that I want to make sure you see. If you start pulling things apart, you don't like you can print that in one piece. It doesn't necessarily change your design. The other piece is you have to think about how things are connected, how they are connected. Okay? So I just made a copy of this. And what I'm going to do is I am actually going to move it to our box assembly, right? So if you right click and click move to document, and then go to other documents. I think it's easiest if you go to recently opened, and I'm just going to move it to test2 because that's the file that I have. And that whole document is going to be moved into my folder. If you go to the home, I now have home Hopewell copy in here, right? So I'm going to go into the part file. I have what I want on top, but there is no way for the follower rod to connect to the Hopewell, right? So what I am going to do is I'm going to look at the bottom view, and essentially I'm going to make a larger rectangle that I'll be able to insert when I 3D print my custom topper. All right. So if you have a flat base, you 100% can just make a sketch on that side. But what I've found is most students don't have a flat base and they get really confused on how to do this. So if you click the plane view and you look at whatever feature you're looking at, meaning at this point I was on a top view, right? If you make a plane wherever you want your hole to be, then you'll be able to remove the geometry that you want on that plane. So now I can I can draw a sketch directly on the plane. I'm going to move over to a center point rectangle. And I don't like the Hopewell logo would make more sense to do it in the center, but there's nowhere for me to cut. So I'm just going to do it to the side here. The stick itself is 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to make sure that I have some space and I'm going to do 0.27 by 0.27. So now I know that that's the size of my hole. I'll put it directly into the center. And now I am just going to remove that geometry so that the stick can cut out. If it doesn't show up, just click this merge with all, and then you will be able to connect whatever you've created. All right, so you already see that this is going to be very large in reference to my entire box, and that's okay. So I'm going to bring back here into the assembly. I'm going to insert, right? I am going to find the Hopewell feature, which is right here, right? Boom. Hit the green check. First thing that I am going to do is I am going to use the group feature, right? So I highlight everything and I hit group. What this does is it groups everything together. Now when I move this around, it's all one part. Now I'm just going to simply fasten the hole that I have, which is right here, to the axle that I want, right? So again, it's where you click the yellow. That is going to be something that's frustrating for many individual students. Okay, and there we go. Here's my green check. Okay, we can test this out. Get out of fasten. And there we are, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I know this is going to be different for everybody, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.